Tech CEO advises workers to stop quitting their jobs, but people tell her that happiness is more important. This will be an interesting read. Let's see here. So, y'all knew the job market that favored workers wasn't going to last, right? Yeah, you did. And one tech CEO is telling people why it's not a good time to be leaving their gigs. But that doesn't mean people agree with her. Rizasu, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, said that she had to warn people because seemingly a lot of folks still think the job market is thriving and it's time to quit. I know we went through a time called the Great Resignation, that people quit their jobs and probably just did their own thing. It was at a time when, government was cutting checks to people during COVID to stay home, right? So people were doing their own thing, trying to find their own type of work where they could work for themselves instead of for someone else. I get it, but now those times are over. Let me see what the actual video is here. I'm not a big TikTok person, so let me just pull this up and find it. Okay, so I think I found her. Theresa Sue, tech CEO. She has 218,000 followers. Well, it's pinned, so it looks like this is it. Let's see what she has to say.
I keep seeing videos about people telling people to quit their jobs. Listen to me. The person who is hiring people, okay? My no pile looks like people who are qualified for the job. People who are overqualified are applying for jobs that normally they will be overqualified for. The job market is not what it was three years ago. Don't do it to yourself unless you have a backup.
Is there a pause? Okay, I agree with that. Job market is totally different. If you're looking for a job right now, the type of job you actually want, it's going to take a little bit more effort to get into. Now, if you're just throwing your resume out there and hoping it lands somewhere and get hired just because you need some form of income, it's probably going to be a little lower paying. It's not going to be exactly what you want. And you're going to treat it as a stepping stone. I get that. But the job you actually really want, really need, that you identify with, is going to take some work to get to.
Backup plan, a backup job, or money. Okay? I understand we all want to chase our happiness, but this is not the time because your happiness is not outside of your job right now. Okay. I keep seeing videos
emphasizing happiness. I mean, before this job I have right now, I can't say what my job is, but I'm really happy with my current job. Now, the jobs I had before, I was not happy with at all. So I understand that you quit as a stepping stone to get to the job you really want to be in. But of course, the job I'm in now, I looked up what the job is, right? I looked on the resume, when the job post is up, what the qualifications are, right? When you're looking at job qualification, it says the education, the years experience, the skills they're looking for, blah, 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 blah. I took that and I took it to heart. I checkmarked all of them. I got the education, the experience needed, the skills needed, boom, everything. Interview, got the job, boom, I'm where I want to be at now. Now, as far as happiness, I'm a little torn on this because I don't know what job she works at as a CEO, tech, obviously, and probably has this message about people quitting their jobs, right? When I'm hiring someone, I'm hiring them to do something I don't want to do anymore. Something I'm not willing to do anymore. It's a grind. It sucks. It's a distraction of me doing bigger, better things with the company or what my job is, right? So people who are working at the lowest levels are the ones most likely to quit. They're going to look for something better unless they get promoted within the company or get paid more or get better treatment, right? A lot of people just want to be treated like a human being instead of a pawn to greater means. Also, loyalty between the employer and the employee. It's a very much trust yet verified situation. I myself have been laid off. Not for bad performance or anything, it's just the company went down. Bad decisions from executives, managers, and who are the first people they fire? People at the bottom. I was one of them. Multiple times, right? Most of this happened during the Great Recession. Shows you how old I am. So it's trust yet verified. Just be prepared that they're gonna kick you to the curb. Despite how much you love this company, how much you love the job, just be prepared like they're gonna kick you to the curb. Save your money, just be prepared. Because if they can, they will, to save the company. Now, happiness in a company. Let's talk about that. A job is really a means to, you go to the job, you work your 8 hours, and within 2 weeks you get a paycheck. You do it all over again. Companies don't give a crap about your happiness. They care about you doing the job that's required. Now, for me, I hired in doing like data entry. So say if I needed someone to do some complicated data entry, to do 30 data inputs within an hour, I expect 30, no less. If they do more, great. But if they do less, then of course a conversation will be warranted. See if there's something we can do to increase that. Is there something going on? Otherwise, maybe they're just not fit for the job. But it's going to take a while for me to separate them. I'm not going to fire them right away. But sometimes higher ups just say, just get rid of them, and it kills you sometimes. But I'm also not going to call them a quiet quitter because they're doing the required. If I said 30 and they do 30, I'm not going to call them a quiet quitter, doing the bare minimum. Like, hey, I want you to do more. Then I would say, okay, if they want me to do 35 or 40 more inputs an hour, they should be compensated for that. But that's just my mentality. I've been in that situation. Higher ups say increase the quotas. It sucks, and without compensation. So it's, God, working for an employer is dirty business sometimes. It's just not right. But you do have the opportunities to find better. Keep that in mind. So instead of complaining to your employer, just increase your skill sets, increase yourself, and find a better employer. Where was I with happiness? I still forgot. So yeah, you're going to have a lot of crappy jobs out. I had plenty of crappy jobs. Not happy with it. Just there to get a paycheck, have a game plan of how I can get out of this job, get the necessary skills. So I give I guess you call it self-promotion, to find another employer that has a better quality of life that increases my happiness. I'm not going to be happy 100%. It's still a job. You still have to commit time to someone else, an employer. Time that's not your time. It's someone else's time, really, in exchange for a compensation, right? Looking at these comments, there's this third one that stuck out. Mental health, overall, everything. Don't stand at any job if it's affecting your mentality. Be smart, speak to HR, work Viva, temp agencies, but don't stay. This is the type of mentality that you're not a hard worker, really. Yes, I understand mental health is very important. It's hugely important. But so is having food on the table. So is having shelter. I mean, nothing's perfect in this world. You're not going to find the perfect job. You're not going to find the perfect employer. You're not going to find the perfect boss. You're probably not going to be a perfect employee with this type of attitude. I recommend just can you do the job? Can you do it well? Can you meet their expectations? And that's it. Your happiness is going to be last, unfortunately. But if you should thrive to get yourself into a more happier situation in the future, what's the next step? You got the job you want. What's the next step to increase happiness? That's for you to figure out. No one on the internet's going to figure this out for you. Look at this one. Would you recommend we apply to jobs we are not qualified for? Do you think we stand a better chance? Honestly, I'm not saying that you apply for jobs that you don't qualify for, but if there's a particular job you really want, that employer might put qualifications that are outlandish, right? Like crazy amount of experience, crazy everything. But it's the job you want, I recommend just apply for it because it's really a wish list. And it's one method they use to deter people away from applying for it. But if that's the job you really want, I'd say just apply for it. Because what's the worst they're going to say? No? It's an automatic no if you don't apply for it. If it's really the job you want to apply for, I'm not saying just throw your resume out there for jobs and hope one of them lands. Then you're going to be in this weird cycle where you're going from job to job to job. And it actually doesn't look good to an employer when you have so many jobs. It looks like there's a great chance that you're going to leave this company. If you have 15 years experience in a certain field, like say tech, and you've had 2 employers that entire 15 years, that looks better compared to someone who's had 15 employers within 15 years. That's an average 1 year with an employer. So the employer is going to be like, I want someone that has the lowest amount of risk, who has proven dedication. There's a lot of people who are just not happy with what the CEO said, and I find myself agreeing more to what she has to say. Just because of my experience, what I've been through, and what reality is, right? I saw someone here. It's so true. I quit my super high paying job for 2 years ago. I've been steadily applying to jobs. I'm way overqualified and it's crickets. Yeah, sometimes these employers, if they see you're way overqualified, they don't want to hire you because they think you're going to treat them as a stepping stone until you find the actual job you want. Now, how to convince them that they're not a stepping stone, that's something you should put in a cover letter. Those actually do help. Mention, you are the employer I want to work for. You're the one I want to dedicate a lot of time to, and I'd be happy working for you for the following reasons. Don't quit your job until you have a job. I mean, this is where I was torn between the CEO's mentality and an employee's mentality. You know, I was an employee too. I'm not going to forget where I came from. It's, again, you're doing jobs that really no one else in the company wants to do, so they want you to do the job and you agreed to do it. And you could be using it as a stepping stone. A lot of employers hate that. But sometimes they have to come to reality like, hey, this job has a high turnover rate because no one likes to do it. I don't want to do it myself. What can we do to reduce the turnover rate, to keep people staying there versus using it as a stepping stone to quit? That's for them to figure out. I'm not going to give the advice of how to stuff. I can identify the problem, but I'm not going to provide a solution because maybe I don't have the best solutions. Someone else is probably smarter than me and more experienced and knows the solution. Okay, I don't want to read comments all day. This is TikTok. What more went on through this? There's one thing I do want to highlight is that she continued, my no pile looks like people who are qualified for the job. People who are overqualified are applying for jobs that normally they would be overqualified for. I mean, that is subjective, overqualified. Maybe people are quote unquote overqualified, but that is the job they want. Maybe they had the job they were well qualified for. Too chaotic, they want to step down a little bit where they're more comfortable with. That can happen, right? Otherwise, they're going to be treating it as a stepping stone to find the job that they are actually qualified for. But if you have a no pile list of people who are qualified for the job, I would at least look at some of them, see the best candidates, just give them a phone interview and just get a feel out for them. Because I would be more cautious about overqualified people because they might just say, I got the job now, this is my stepping stone until I get the job I actually want. Versus the qualified people might just want to stay there for a much longer period of time where you have a better investment. But of course, she's a CEO. I'm not a CEO. I could be totally wrong, right? Just to repeat, she added, the job market is not what it was 3 years ago. Don't do it to yourself unless you have a backup plan, a backup job, or money. Okay, I understand we all want to change for happiness. I hear that's happiness. It does not pay those bills. Again, I don't know what her tech field is. I'm probably not going to look too deep into it. I'm sure someone in the comments will. And people quitting the jobs. Who's quitting the job there? What is it about the job that people want to quit there for? Is it just, why is there a high turnover rate? It's a very stressful environment. Is it call center jobs? Call center jobs suck. I've been through a few of those. They suck. Maybe it's just a tech support over the phone. That can also be irate too. But I understand. Paying the bills is much more important than being unemployed and not knowing how to pay your bills. Because that little sense of security of not being able to pay your bills is far worse than that security of being able to pay your bills. To sum up, this is not the time because your happiness is not outside of your job right now. I mean, I understand happiness is a priority, but you have to get there. Figure out a plan, qualifications, what the job is you actually want to do. How do you get there? How does it pay well? You're going to have to go through a lot of terrible jobs to get there that don't make you happy. But those terrible jobs should fuel you and motivate you to work harder, think smarter, get the right skills to get out of your current situation and get into a better situation. Apparently she's calling out people who are complaining on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. Complaining about it on TikTok is not going to help you. Figure out what it is you need to do to get that job you want and get there, and then you'll be happier. If it's like if she's calling out people who it's like their first, second, third job, I mean, goodness. And especially if they're in the 20s, 20s is just a terrible year. You'll never be happy. If you do achieve happiness in your 20s with a great job, happy for you. Was this the full video here? Oh, I didn't even have to go to TikTok. I could have just watched it here, whatever. Quit your job. My last day is on Friday. Happiness is always better. Bye, girl. Someone said, God bless. That's the CEO. And someone else responded, wait until it takes a year to get another one. I kid you not, 2 degrees, and it took me 11 months to get a terrible job offer. One single offer. I mean, I can identify with that. Actually, I have 2 masters. For me to get the job I really wanted, took more than 6 months. I don't remember on top of my head, but I know it was more than 6 months. It's not easy. I mean, once you get in, then things get better. But of course, I plan like as if I could lose my job next week, save, prep. But as of right now, I'm kind of in a good spot. But if there's a job you really want, guess what? Other people want that job too. Probably because it increases your happiness, pays better, better quality of life, better environment, and it's probably highly desirable. That's why they're very difficult to get. And the only jobs that are available are the ones that suck. You know, a lot of those retail jobs where you have to deal with angry customers or call center jobs, those are always available, right? Always available because no one wants them. They don't pay well, terrible working environment, but they're always hiring, right? They're always hiring. So to get from a terrible situation to a better situation, you're going to have to make better value of yourself for sure. Better experience, relevant experience, better education probably, better in a lot of ways. And how to be a better person and how to do it in a positive manner. There's a lot of negativity. So a lot of people finally get the skill sets and they get their interview, but they have this aroma where they're a negative person. They're not pleasant to be in the office. So that's another characteristic that only you, the employee, can change. No one else can change that about you. But I've been ranting for a while, so I'm going to stop it there. If you like my videos, please like, subscribe, all that stuff. Take care.